The new terrain in Fortnite Creative is insanely powerful. Today I'm going to show you how to get the most out of it and even challenge myself to a speed build. Let's go. All right, we're going to start really basic, but even you pros may pick up something here. First thing you need to know when working with terrain is to really understand your rotation. Just playing with this one piece without resizing or anything, you can create a completely unique terrain just by rotating in all the different directions. You can have a flat surface to run on, rocky cliffs, tall mountain peaks by rotating and placing things down at different angles. This is all from one piece. I made this all just within like less than 60 seconds. One tip I have with this, you can do this on a grid snap. That makes it so, you know, rotation's pretty easy. You're gonna get flat surfaces really simple, but I actually like to take grid snap off, and that way I can just kind of place things where they need to go. And one thing I'm doing when I'm placing terrain, I like to see where it's overlapping. You can see it's overlapping right above Peely's head there. That's where your other pieces are going to intersect. The one thing I want to do here is have it go a little lower, so you place it down there where you're going to have ridges in your terrain. Maybe I want it to blend in a little bit better up top, so I can place that down, and now that blends in perfectly. Now also, being able to copy and paste will make things way easier for you. If you don't know how to copy, look at your list on the side. For me, when my phone is out, I hit R to select, I hit left click to copy, and because I'm not on grid snap, you can see the whole terrain now is moving around. Then I can guide this to where I want it to be. Boom. Now I've got a completely enclosed space where I can have a fight, an adventure, I don't know, whatever it is you want. It makes it super easy to make a lot of mountains because you can copy that, then rotate it, and you can create an even bigger mountain or mountain range. When you're rotating it just right, you can even place things down so it makes it look a little bit more unique, and people won't be able to tell that you were just copying and pasting. And once again, guys, literally minutes to make just a simple terrain area. I really love these terrain pieces because you can totally climb on them and make people really try and find a route, climb up your mountain or whatever it is. Now, once again, a word of caution to those using these terrain pieces: you cannot build on them. These do not act like the other terrain. Like, to pull out this terrain piece, you can see it has nowhere near the detail as this over here, but I can build off of it. So if you're making a battle royale or a map that needs building, do not use these. Now, one pro tip: maybe you want to have building in a certain area in your map, but you still want to use these. You can always go to the dark tilted prop gallery and find this piece right here, and this is what it looks like. This piece allows you to build wherever that is, so you can kind of make a pathway that goes up your mountain or wherever it is that you know you want to build, but then your people can come in and build, and yeah, it's gonna break the terrain piece while I'm in edit mode, but in the game you can make it so then they can also build wherever they want. All right, now let's talk about resizing. So this is the default size here, and the nice thing about these pieces is you can blow them up to be huge, so that's as big as it can get. Now, one problem with blowing it up this size is there's not a lot of detail when you get up close. Like, the rocks are really big and flat, and it may not necessarily fit what you want for your map. They make great mountains off in the distance though, so if you're needing some quick terrain that looks cool, remember to use your rotations. Take it off grid snap so you can kind of like slightly rotate them. You can have decent background terrain in just seconds, so it's great for that. But once again, when you get close, it may not have the detail you want. But the cool thing is you can resize this down to as small as it goes, and it gets pretty small, and it has a level of detail on it that we haven't really seen in creative before. So then you can just take this, once again, we're using our rotation technique here just to like fill this in, and then make a bigger piece that we can copy and paste to make it look how we want. So I'm going to copy this now, and then we're just going to find the right rotations to make it look into a really cool, unique mountain. And then this structure has a ton of detail on it. And the nice thing about this is you can kind of come in and then replace things however you want. Like, maybe you want a cave in the middle of this, so you just come in and you kind of move things back or delete things till it looks like what you want. And now I have a cave in the middle of this cool looking rock structure that I can then guide my player up into to continue our adventure. And you'll see the difference now. This is super detailed versus this is not as much. Once again, you're not going to always want to have this much detail, and then maybe you want something in between, so you can just use the default look there, so it kind of blends in kind of nicely. We can have like our detailed look up close with our little less detail in the back. When you pull back even further, you have detail up front with a cave and more mountain ranges in the back. I don't know, it just starts to feel really good. good. Now let's talk about the dynamic terrain. This stuff is actually insane. Now I've talked a little bit about this, but basically how this works is when you rotate an item, you can see here how the grass changes to be on top. It has this really dynamic look to it. Even if we look on the bottom of this, it's complete rock. When we flip it, now it has grass on it. So you can seamlessly put your terrain together, make it look awesome. But now it doesn't just work with the grass, it also works with the snow pieces so that you can seamlessly put these terrain pieces together. You'll even notice on more of this clean rock that it has these little like clover things, and as you rotate it, those clovers will rotate with the piece too. These pieces are even more dynamic than just grass and snow going on different spots. It's actually really cool because watch this. If I take this piece, rotate it, and then piece it together with this one like this, you're gonna notice the textures blend in. So here's another example. See that little like hole right there, or divot, or whatever you want to call it? I'm gonna put this piece at an angle right on that hole, and you'll see here, this is one piece and that's the other piece, and it's blending together perfect. So some of these pieces you'll notice they have lines on it. It makes it so you can make like really cool cliffs that slowly get bigger, and really no matter how you resize it, the dynamic nature of it blends them together perfect. So your textures still look the same, but it goes from this small piece at the end to a big piece over here. I mean, I can even blow this up to as big as it goes and make a little angle here. So now we have this cliff that's going up, blending together with this giant piece that's now making this look like some really cool, I don't know, just terrain. I mean, how cool is that, guys? Now, one thing I don't love about these big pieces is I don't love the snow texture on top. I don't know, it just feels a little bit blurry, like in these sections. The grassy look is a little bit better, but it's not like perfect. But I'm not gonna complain too much about that because the ability to make quick terrain like this is very choice. Now, another quick word of caution: if you're gonna try and combine pieces with like old terrain pieces, like so we've got the snow dunes here. You can see the snow dunes here does not blend great with this other snow. Now, if you're using the snow to go up to the cliffs, I think that's fine because it looks okay on the side of the cliff. But if you pull out like the snow terrain and use that, I mean, it starts to look like really different. It does not blend at all with this new terrain. So just be cautious of that. Let's talk a little bit about decorating your terrain with other things. So this is a highly detailed mountain, and I'm just using this grass terrain to blend up into it. I know I was just talking about be cautious of old terrain with new terrain, but sometimes it looks okay. Even then, this is looking kind of boring leading up into that. But if I wanted to have like a really cool grasslands leading up into this, I'm gonna come in here into tall grass gallery A, and then I'm gonna shrink this down to, once again, I want to have that level of detail that you won't get when it's blown up. Then I can take this grass, I'm just gonna rotate it a few times to make it so it flows a little bit more naturally. And then I'm just gonna copy and paste that, place it down in a few areas, and then copy and paste all of that, start to fill in my map here, just to give it a level of detail that I could otherwise not have if I wasn't being careful. Now, the only problem with this, guys, is, you know, this kind of a trick takes a lot of memory, but it looks fantastic. And then I would start adding in some VFX, some light fog or something, make this whole mountain range feel just a little bit more mysterious. And this whole area here really just took me a couple of minutes to make. Now, to prove my point here, I want to see how fast I can build Mount Rushmore in Fortnite. All right, so I'm going to start when the clock is at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and we'll really time myself. Okay, here we go. I'm going to focus on this, guys, so I can get this done quick. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, guys, is these rocks in these galleries, they actually have that dynamic nature to them as well. When I first saw them, I was wondering like why we had these rocks that we already have in other galleries. The other rocks don't have that like dynamic nature to it. All right, guys, I'm just gonna quickly build a little forest over here leading up into Mount Rushmore. And I mean, it's taken me about 12 minutes to build this, just a little bit longer than I was hoping. But I don't know, that turned out all right. I don't love the rocks down here. I mean, clearly there's some floating around, but in a hurry, that's not too bad. Man, I love this new terrain.